What if it's not about a building? What if it's not about stained glass or steeples? What if it's about just Jesus?
Man, I heard somebody mention something the other day, and I'm going to put it in scenario and ask you guys the same thing. So, Cory and Savannah, what if I gave you guys $1 million right now? How would that make you feel?
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Okay, I tell you what, let's make it $10 million. I'll give you $10 million right now. How do you feel?
Yes, please.
Right.
I think I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I don't think I really got anything.
Right, but that would just blow your mind with just excitement.
Yeah,
Is that
I
right?
can't even fathom it. I mean, I haven't even comprehended it even at this point.
No.
Even though you just said I got it.
Yeah, so there's one kicker to this.
What?
You won't wake up tomorrow. You die tomorrow.
Well, I would die in heaven.
Right. Would you still take it knowing you die tomorrow?
No.
$10 million. Would you take it knowing you die tomorrow?
What am I going to do?
Well,
with
what time is it?
Right, but seriously, would you take it tomorrow or today knowing you die tomorrow?
I mean, it wouldn't mean as much, no.
Right. So both of you say that waking up tomorrow is more important than $10 million.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could have both, that would be amazing.
Man, no doubt. So, but why in the morning when we wake up, do we not pretend and act like it's the same as having that $10 million? That same excitement you had for that $10 million, why do we not have that when we wake up? That day is worth more than $10 million to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so deep. I didn't see that going there.
Me neither. When I saw that and heard it, I was like, wow.
That's
Every day is
good.
worth more than $10 million,
That is
right?
so good.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and you really don't think about it.
No.
You don't think about how we take for granted, just waking up.
Yeah. Even knowing like, okay, my family would still have it, but I wouldn't be here. I still wouldn't take it because my value here is more than $10 million to me, right?
Oh,
I want to spend time with my family and enjoy life.
Holy smokes, that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Man.
Never would I've thought about it that way. I knew you were going somewhere, but I didn't know where we were going.
Right.
That's really, really amazing because I've said that so many times, even in ministry, even, preaching in different places and just saying, hey, do you got anything to praise him for? And people are, it's just like people don't really think about, hey, I woke up this morning, I'm alive, I'm walking, I'm talking, all that. I mean, people like our health is what? Put a price on it. Put a price on it.
No doubt. I wake up in a grumpy mood every day thinking, man, I got to do this again. I got to go to work. I got to run kids everywhere. I got to do all this stuff. But I never think how special that is and how important that is and what kind of value I would put on that, That's crazy.
Man.
You have to go through a traumatic experience in your life. I've been there where I didn't know if I was going to wake up.
Well, what was it?
And I had a stroke.
What?
When I was 25 years old, I had a stroke.
Hold the press.
I did. It's
Not just one stroke. I mean, let's
No.
back up and punt here. It's not just one stroke. You had multiple
Let's
strokes
back
spread
up
out.
and go back to the locker room. I had no clue.
Yeah. Okay. So listen. So crazy stuff. I know this is kind of sidetracked, but crazy stuff. So I had a spontaneous vertebral artery dissection when I was 25 years old. And
What
all
is
of
that?
these
Break that down
things-
for us.
So basically, the main artery that kind of runs down the back of your neck, you have one on the right side and one on the left side. Mine spontaneously ruptured.
Wow.
Just done blowed up.
And like that, could that happen to anybody?
I guess. They don't know why it happened. They don't know what caused it.
Obviously not very often to
No.
anybody.
It's an extremely rare thing. So all this crazy stuff kind of happened. My husband, Lane, was in medical school at the time. He was in Kentucky doing some rotation stuff. Well, I wasn't feeling well. He was supposed to be gone for weeks on end.
So he wasn't even like through the schooling process. He really couldn't help you.
He knew
at
enough
that time.
to help a little bit. So, but this is the weird part. He ended up coming home because I wasn't feeling well. I went to bed at 10 o'clock that night.
And Lane is a physician, right?
Yes, he's a physician now.
Okay.
So I got in bed and I told him, I said, I just don't feel well. Turned my head one way, turned to the other because I just felt like my neck needed a pop. Instantly, I fell down. Facial, drawing. I had full body paralysis. I couldn't see. And he knew immediately. She's had a stroke, what to do. He called the ambulance. They called LifeStar. It
Wow.
was too stormy that day. All of these things kind of happened, but it was crazy because he wasn't supposed to be home. So went to the hospital. They ended up transferring me. I was in Knoxville in the neuro ICU for like 11 days. And all of these things kind of played into the story that weren't supposed to happen, but they happened in a way that saved my life. And, our pastor at the time that had actually married Lane and I and had baptized me at one point came and, prayed over me and, anointed me with oils and did all of these things. And I'll tell you, in 11 days, I was able to walk out of that hospital with no deficits. I was able to walk, talk. I had minor things. I have a huge memory loss situation, and like Stephen said, for months, years, actually, I had kind of like mini strokes and all of these things that happened, but I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for just these, what I presumed, faithful things of fate,
of God.
If Lane wasn't home, I would have died that night. He wasn't supposed to be there. I would have laid in bed and died. No one would have known. But for some reason, he came home. And when I went to the hospital, he told them things that, they wanted to deliver a TPA, which was a medication that's a clot buster. And he told them no. He said, no, I just don't feel like this is presenting right. Don't do it. I don't want this done to my wife. Well, we found out once I got to Knoxville that if they would have given me that, it would have killed me.
Wow.
Because I had a tear. I mean, so if all of those things looking back now, that's God. I mean, that's God.
Absolutely.
At the time, I thought, oh, well, what a coincidence. How amazing. I wasn't able to put those things into words. So I know this is kind of like a big, long sidetrack, but
No, this is perfect.
Oh, yes. I don't even know where you've been hiding this story.
Well, I can truly say that every day is worth $10 million.
Right, no doubt. It goes full circle with the story, right?
It does. Every day to me is worth $10 million because at 25, I might not have woken up again.
Well, yeah, you talk about 25, your kids wouldn't be here.
Nope. But my husband and I had just been married a year.
Yeah, wow.
It's, it's crazy stuff that you just don't think about.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing story.
I can't believe I've never heard that.
Yeah.
So waking up in the morning for you is
It's worth more than I could ever think about.
How long did all those things last for the mini strokes and stuff?
Years. I went through that for a good couple of years until the artery was healing. I was a rare case because at my age, they didn't have a lot of research for some of the treatments they needed to do because I was so young. And we opted to not do some things that maybe, just kind of experimental stuff, and it healed on its own. So
when we say God, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And at that time, you probably didn't even realize how much God actually played into that, I'm sure.
No, because over the period of 2 weeks, so many crazy things just fell into place for me.
Wow. I've said wow like 10 times.
What else do you say?
I know. My brother came, he saw me at the hospital every day, and they gave me a helmet when I'm in the hospital. Do you remember?
I vaguely remember that.
He bought me all these princess stickers, and he decorated my helmet in princess stickers.
You're kidding.
No, it was amazing. And I remember just crying. I'm like, I have to wear a helmet. So he bought me princess stickers.
I wish we had pictures of that.
Oh, I'm sure somewhere somebody does. Yeah. Wow.
I can't believe that all of that took place. I mean, how phenomenal was it that you were married and had Lane, I mean, God knew what he was doing. And I think we should talk about this. I think we should talk about, for every time we've ever been in a close call in our life. I mean, how many people are going to listen to this that in some form or fashion, they've skimmed past death's door? On the interstate, on the highway, some big 18-wheeler, about takes you out, or how many times does harm, come past your home, or past your children in the mall, or past you in the grocery store? And I just think how amazing it is that you could look back, even if you didn't even really have per se a relationship like you would now with Jesus.
Right.
But at this point in your life, you can look back. And I think about this song, There Was Jesus. And Dolly Parton and Zach Williams sing it. And the chorus says this: in the waiting, in the searching, in the healing and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces, every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it or couldn't see it, there was Jesus. Man, and so it's just, you could never take for granted that one day, because to wake up is worth more money that you could ever offer, to have good health, to be walking around. My dad told me my whole life, son, you don't realize how rich you are if you have good health. If you woke up this morning, if your feet touch the floor, and if on top of that you have a relationship with Jesus, let me tell you something. The devils are probably shaking when when Savannah's feet hit the floor. They're like,
right.
oh, watch out. What are we going to do now? We ain't been able to take her out. We've been trying. We've been trying. I mean, but Jesus said, up on this rock, I'll build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So, I mean, like, everything in the world is going to try to come at you. And no matter what you're going through, and no matter what you're facing, when you hear this, know that God can wake you up in the morning and give you another day. And this is even greater, that every day comes with a new mercy, a new dawn, a new horizon. And He's got great things in store for all of us. And like, what is $10 million to, another day of mercy, another day of health, another day of love and peace and joy with Jesus? There was Jesus.
Man, if you ask me on any day, would you want $10 million? And I wouldn't hesitate to say yes. But when you put that stipulation that I won't be here tomorrow,
Yeah.
man, I'd turn that down a million times over.
Yeah, because how could you enjoy it? I mean, the whole reason of being, in this world, in this life now, is how you would enjoy that money.
100%. But we have to think that every day is worth that $10 million. Every day we wake up, that's the attitude we need to have.
Absolutely. It's a good reminder, because even though I feel that way, it is, you tend to forget and you take for granted.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you this story, and it's kind of funny. It's a guy I used to work with. He worked in a different city than I did. And we were in a car together driving down the road, and we went by a cemetery. And he was a real down in the dumps kind of guy all the time. And he looked over and he says, man, you ever just get jealous of them? I said, of who? He says, those people over there dead. I said, no, not at all. And he says, man, they don't have to get up in the morning. They ain't got to go to work. They ain't got to do nothing.
Wow.
But that mindset, you think about that. Would he have took $10 million? Probably not. Would he put $10 million on a value? No, but he lost perspective.
Yes.
So down in the dumps with what's happening at that moment.
Somewhere
you lose perspective.
a long time ago, because he had to really get bad and really build up some negativity,
Right.
like a dam building.
And I didn't even know him that well.
Because this dude's like, I want to go get in the graveyard with them. I mean,
He said,
heck.
how lucky are they?
Wow. That's deep to just spring on somebody you don't know very well.
Yeah, I kept waiting on the laugh, It never came. He was serious.
He was dead serious.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh man, it was funny.
That's amazing.
I just kept looking at him, waiting on it. It just never came.
I mean, like the Bible says, if a man gains the whole world, and talking about perspective, this really puts this into perspective for me right now at this moment. If a man could gain the whole world but lose his soul,
Wow.
what
Yeah.
would it profit him? And what would he give in exchange for his soul?
Mm.
What would you give in exchange for your soul?
Is that like the deal with the devil? Is
Yeah.
that the same perspective?
I mean, it's like anybody and anything that, you want more of the world than you do Jesus. Like,
right.
you want it, you want that part of it more than you want to build your spiritual side, and they both got to go together. I'm glad this is going this way. However it's doing this, it's God, obviously. But, God said, I want you to prosper. People think that you can't prosper if you have Jesus.
No.
Hold on, I'm confused. What do you mean you can't prosper if you have
Peop-
Jesus?
Oh, this is good. So people think that you're supposed to suffer and you're supposed to be more about the Spirit and you're supposed to be more about, not being allured away by this or tempted by this and never being of this, but only about Jesus and the spiritual side. And straight is the gate and narrow is the way that leads to life, and only few there be that find it. And so you're suffering for Jesus. You don't have the nicer things in life. You don't want the nicer things in life. You can't blend. You can't be keeping up with the Joneses, and you can't be worrying about who's popular or how much money we have. And
How do we know the Joneses don't have Jesus? Because
there's a lot of judgment in this world that says otherwise. I guess that's why Jesus said, why don't you remove the lumber yard out of your own eye before you remove the splinter out of your brother's? Because everybody's, you want to judge, and we get in these wide spectrums of things like this where we can't prosper. If you serve Jesus, you're bearing the cross. You're denying your life. You're denying yourself. You're taking up your cross daily and following me. And people think that you can't prosper and have Jesus, because it's a way of suffering.
So when you say prosper, you're talking financially?
I'm talking everything. I'm talking,
happy, healthy, wealthy.
yes, I'm talking happy, healthy, wealthy. That's God. Here's the
confused too.
misunderstanding. People think that if you serve Jesus, you have to live this life where,
Like a minimalist type.
yeah, you got to keep your head, looking down all the time, this mule face, because you can't have nothing of the world. You can't be a friend of the world. You can't, and you got to, like I said, bear the cross and live a sacrificial life. And so, but the real truth is this: you can prosper. You can have all the good things of this life. It's the misconception is this: because you suffer, that is why you prosper.
That sounds like really Old Testament to me.
Well, it's really old mentality too.
Yeah, because everything that I know about Jesus seems to go against what you just said, right? Other than he gave up everything, his apostles gave up everything.
But he
And they
did that
took
so we
off.
could have and be happy and healthy and all that stuff, right?
Right. Well, that's the way I take it.
That's the way I take it.
It is, but then people turn around and say, like I said, Jesus said, you must deny yourself. If you don't forsake your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your spouse, your houses, your lands, and your own life, you cannot be my disciple.
So I feel like that stirs up a lot of controversy.
Oh, man. Tons of controversy. That's why I said you have all these people that never hardly speak a word, and they wear the just plain Jane, no kind of jewelry, no kind of name brand, no kind of nice hairdo or hair done, walk with their heads down all the time because I'm bearing the cross. I'm suffering for Jesus. I'm walking on the straight and the narrow. And people get that mindset, and they think,
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
they talk about all these, evangelists and people who serve the Lord on an open platform and a big platform, and how could they be prospering like this? How could they have money? How could they have this? And how could they have that? Does that make sense?
It does. And I think we could get in a real heated conversation about that. Because, man, that's how churches are funded. That's how they operate, right?
Well, this is another thing. God says, I would that you prosper. Like, I want you to prosper. But here it is. As long as your soul prospers. So they go hand in hand. But it's like you saying yes to Jesus the whole way and no to the things of the world. It's like God gives you both. You get to prosper in Jesus and spiritually, and you prosper in the world.
Well, that was kind of my understanding when, I jumped into this wholeheartedly because I thought that by doing this, my life is going to be so much better.
It is.
Spiritually, mentally, everything was just going to be better. So that's still right? Like, I want to be sure. Like,
It sounds like a choice. I mean, obviously, I don't know
I know.
what Cory knows or anybody else, but it sounds like a choice. If you choose to be unhappy or carry that suffrage,
Well, I mean, you
that's
could
on you.
just think about these two things. Like, one is, like Jesus said, unless you take up your cross and follow me. Like, I mean,
Well, I guess everybody's cross is different sizes, maybe.
well, just think about this. Like, if you wanted to get in that, if you wanted to get over here in this category and think like this, kind of like the man that said, hey, I want to be over there with those dead people. I'd rather be there.
Right.
I mean, just think about take up your cross and follow me. Like in today's society, that would be like, take up your electric chair and follow me. Like, die for me. There's a real dark side that you could go to and a negative side that you could go to. But then Jesus says, in the other hand, where we can also live on the other side of this scenario, Jesus said, whatever you give up for me, houses, lands, and 100-fold you will reap in this life. So, like, you could stay over here and know that I am prospering because I said yes to Jesus. And I do prosper spiritually. And because I prosper spiritually, I also prosper naturally. But there are just some people that think that's impossible.
Well, I think that's going to be with anything. There's going to be those people that they don't want you to succeed, or they don't want you to, like you said, they're judgmental, or, there's always going to be those naysayers.
Yes, there always are. And they're
In
always, yes, in anything you do, in any scenario, in any subject, you can have the negative person, the pessimistic person, the half-empty person, or you can have the optimistic person. And I'm getting up every day with a new mercy, a new peace, a new joy. Everything I do, I'm leaning on the Lord, and He is directing my path, and He is blessing me. And God said, prove me, try me if I won't open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there is not room enough for you to receive.
That's funny you mentioned glass half full, half empty. My whole outlook on that is it depends if it started as a full glass or an empty glass. If it was a full glass and I drank half of it, yeah, that's half empty. But if it was an empty glass and I poured halfway, oh, it's half full.
Well, what if you are not the one that's drinking and
Right.
you just, yeah.
So it's a matter of perspective.
Yes.
So my glass was empty when I met Jesus.
Come on.
Now my glass is half full. There's no doubt about it,
Yes.
No way did I start with a full glass and Jesus take anything from me.
No, you get
Come
it.
on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So my mindset is there's no way to look at it other than my glass is half full because of Jesus.
Yes.
Heck yeah. David said, you've anointed my head and my cup runs over. So do away with that. We don't even need to know if the cup's half full or half empty. My cup's running over.
There is no cup without Jesus.
Yes. Come on. There's nothing without Jesus. That's the whole point. Jesus is what makes us prosper. Like God said, I'm the one that empowers you to get wealth.
Well, we all have one life. If you want to live it negative and dwell on all the negative all the time, dude, have at it.
I think this is great. I think this is a great point, and I really think it's amazing because there's people in the world that deal with pains, that deal with struggles, that deal with in their mind anxiety and depression, and you can make the choice. You can choose. Are you going to live a positive life? Are you going to do what Jesus said and treat others the way you would want to be treated, no matter what kind of hell you go through? That's how you really show the aura of the light of Jesus in your life. You shine through the pain and through the broken pieces. You shine the love anyways. You put on a smile anyways.
Well, and I think for those people that are so down and struggling, if they can't shine that light, then I think that that's when it's our job to shine our light onto them.
It is.
And help, because that's been a struggle of mine, shining my light, but maybe they need that. And that's how I'm going to help share my cup, spread the word with them.
Right. Which one grabs more people? The negative grabs people. It's so much easier to jump on the negative bandwagon than the positive bandwagon.
Oh, 100%. It just sucks you in.
Oh, without a doubt.
Misery loves
company. They do.
I heard a joke once that I'm sorry.
You get so tickled. I love it.
One dude is driving down the interstate and he sees a man holding like the hoist on a bridge and he's about to jump. And the guy starts freaking out and he slams on his brake and he throws his door open. He rushes out of his car and he jumps up on the side of the bridge there and he's going to try to stop the guy from jumping off the bridge, right? So they both start talking and they both jump.
That's how it is. And it's funny. That's exactly what happens. If you talk to somebody
really
negative,
a joke.
No, but that's exactly what. Yeah.
If you talk and you're constantly, if I'd have rode in a car with that guy, that was you could have dead.
Yeah, you could have got right down in the graveyard with him.
Man, well, it wasn't one car ride. I was thinking, man, he might be right. It did suck coming to work this morning, but geez,
it drains you. That sort of negative energy just draws out your positive and just sucks you dry.
You are who you're around, whether you like it or not.
100%.
But that and the Bible talks about that. That's why we're sitting here right now talking about, living a better life, living a more prosperous life, and only being able to do that through Jesus. And this right here, what we're doing is iron sharpens iron. Walk with the wise, and you will be wise. That's all biblical. Like, You choose every day whether you're going to be ate up with negativity. And trust me, I can be sometimes.
We
all
all can be.
can.
Yeah.
I mean, can I
Without a
get a
doubt.
witness over here in the back row? An amen or something.
Yes.
I know, trust me, I'm talking to myself too. We all get negative, but that is the battle. You don't know what you're going to be. I don't know what everybody that's listening here is dealing with.
We've
Like
all got stuff.
PTSD,
without a
like
doubt.
struggles
Oh, yeah.
and things, and mental horrible brokenness in maybe you've lost a loved one and you're grieving and you can't get past it, and you can't seem to put a smile on, you can't seem to lift your head up. I think it's so important, if you can be the person in that situation that could smile through it anyways, for Jesus, for the fact that there's other people in the dark looking for a way out. All they're looking for is light at the end of the tunnel. And it's up to us as Jesus followers to show them that, no matter how bad we have it. And I just think that's the height of humanity, is what it should be, no matter broken down, good, bad, ugly, that you're a soldier now.
And you're not alone. You have someone there for you that you can pour your heart out to.
Heck yeah. Yes, cast all your cares upon the Lord because he cares for you. Like, I guess that's why it's so important that maybe we wouldn't take a day for granted if we woke up every morning and maybe just fell on our knees and prayed and thank God for another day. Thank God that my feet did touch the floor again. Thank God for a new mercy. Thank God for a new plan, a new everything. He said, I make all things new. Old things are passed away and I will make all things new. People, all of us, we live under or beneath our privilege, as I used to hear people say. We live beneath our privilege because we have so many things and treasures, heap upon heap of goodness of God, and we decide to live down in the dumps, and we decide to live and have pity parties. And we shouldn't. We woke up. We're alive. Person, whoever is listening, you are alive and well. And if you're not dead, then guess what? God's not done. So I would like to say this. Just remember, you're walking by people every day who are a ticking time bomb. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know how broken they are. And maybe you're broken. But it's so important. I read this quote once, and I'd like to read it to you. We do not draw people to Christ by loudly discrediting what they believe, or by telling them how wrong they are and how right we are, but by showing them a light that is so lovely that they want with all their hearts to know the source of it.
That's beautiful.
So remember, when you pass through somebody's life, leave some sunshine, leave some positivity, leave them feeling better than before you came and approached them. Be blessed.